So it's estimated that about 65% of U.S. households have at least one pet. That's nearly 80 million families. Of course, owning a pet comes with a lot of responsibility and challenges, but when it comes to parrots, there's a whole host of extra issues people don't even consider. And as Christina Quinn shows us, one New England organization is trying to raise awareness about it all.
Hello. Hello.
This is Foster Parrots, a sanctuary in Hope Valley, Rhode Island that houses close to 400 exotic birds.
This right here is a permanent sort of lifelong care facility for homeless parrots.
These parrots wound up here because they were abused, unwanted, or simply outlived their owners.
Part of our job is to try and give them multiple options. Some birds will not eat off the ground, so you got to give them a bowl. Some will not need a bowl, you got to give them on the ground. So it's our job is to basically address each and every individual personality and ability of the animals here. Ideally, we'd have all of them eating, foraging and being able to pull. That's Jub Jub. I think Jub Jub wants your attention.
Is that Jub Jub?
That's Jub Jub. So this is Bert and Jub Jub. Jub Jub's very jealous. Oftentimes Bert gets all the attention because he's big and blue and beautiful, but he gets very jealous and he likes to sort of step in front.
Photobomb?
Yeah, he totally photobombs.
It's not unusual for some parrots to live to the age of 100, and their demands vary widely. Birds who are hand-raised are often human-bonded and have a hard time being around other birds. Some parrots who came from a home where they never left their cages still won't leave. The transition period for many of these birds to adjust to life in the sanctuary can take years.
They're very sensitive.
They're very sensitive. Simple changing perches, putting in a new bird can totally disrupt their sort of daily flow, their daily life, and that can cause a lot of issues.
Some birds even have to wear protective armor because they pluck their own feathers to the point of injury.
BB is an extreme mutilator. He will actually go right through his skin, so he's going to have to wear that collar for probably the rest of his life.
As the tour progresses, it only gets louder.
So this is the area of the sanctuary where most people really realize why you can't live with these animals. That's a very natural sound that you're hearing from the cockatoos. And they do that when they're having fun, when they're upset, when they want your attention for whatever reason.
Foster Parrots receives 500 to 700 surrender requests annually from pet owners who just can't take the noise anymore. Co-founder Karen Windsor says they turn most of them away, taking in mainly birds who are in life or death situations. But she says that all of this means we need to reevaluate the roles pets play in our lives.
A cage is not a stimulating environment for these animals. They're really complex. Their psychology is complex. So, probably the number one form of abuse of parrots in captivity is neglect, and it's that benign neglect. When we walk out the door and when we fail to provide that companionship, that is probably the most prevalent form of abuse of parrots in captivity.
Windsor says if you really think you're up to the task of taking a parrot home, don't buy one, but adopt. And make it more about what you can give the bird instead of the other way around.
Christina Quinn joins me now. Hi, Christina. That was great. I read that these human-bonded birds, as you call them, try to mate with their humans.
Yeah.
Now, assuming they don't, what happens then? What happens to the bird?
Well, so they reach sexual maturity and they try to mate with their owner, but then they can't.
Human owner.
They're human owner. They can't. They become obsessed with their human owners because it's the only social interaction they have. But then they get really hostile toward other members of the family in the household.
Because of that?
Well, because
they can't
act,
consummate the relationship or whatever. I mean, that is true, right?
Yeah, that's the case. Yeah.
So they live with anger? Is that the deal?
Well, in some cases, yeah. I mean, those cases, yeah, where they're not satisfied. Yeah.
So you said as long as 100 years, some of these can leave. So you buy a parrot, you love a parrot, this human animal thing happens, and you die.
Yeah.
And the parrot lives 40 more years. What happens?
Well, if you plan it out right, you create an endowment for them. So you write into your will.
Literally.
Yes, literally. Yeah. So the parrot sanctuary, they have these things where they have parrots who have moved in and they're being taken care of under an endowment.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
And I also read that a lot of these birds, exotic birds, die from heart attacks. Why?
So the birds that are in captivity, yeah, they get heart disease because they're not flying 20 miles a day like they would be out in the wild. Yeah, generally they're flying about 20 miles a day out in the wild.
So it's like sitting on a couch, essentially, for humans.
Yeah.
Can you end with 1 second of good news? Is there any good news in this?
I guess the awareness point, there's that. They say, if you're gonna adopt a bird, maybe you should adopt two, because that way they can keep each other company.
Well, that's beautiful.
So-
And then they can hopefully do what they can't do with the owner.
Maybe.
Christina, thank you yet again.
Thanks.
Good to see you. Christina Quinn, thanks.